There is no emotion, there is peace. With just the first line of the Jedi Code, the Order's policy on relationships and attachments was made clear to every Jedi. In order to remain objective and neutral, Jedi were expected to maintain no attachments to others. All Jedi had lesser bonds, of course, often to fellow Jedi, but none of these bonds were ever allowed to become so all-consuming that the Jedi would sacrifice the greater good for the sake of those they cared for. Romantic relationships were even more taboo. Romantic love is undoubtedly one of the most powerful emotions anyone can feel, and that's why the Jedi forbade it. Jedi were forbidden from entering romantic relationships, as the strong emotions involved were seen as a path straight to the dark side, as Anakin Skywalker could attest. Many Jedi did their best to follow the code and live by their principles. Some others simply didn't give a flying frack. Today, we'll be talking about the Jedi that said sod it and went on to find themselves some lovin'. Unsurprisingly, this rarely ended well.
Attention, Sergeant on deck!
As with all the Jedi we'll be talking about today, our first rebellious lover boy was a very special little soldier. Nejaa Halcyon was a human male Jedi born on the Republic world of Corellia. As was usual at the time, he was discovered as an infant and taken to Coruscant to be raised as a Jedi. He rose through the ranks of the Jedi, first promoted to Jedi Knight, then attaining the rank of Jedi Master. In his service to the Order, he served as a Jedi Guardian and as a recruiter of the Acquisition Division. He also fought in the Clone Wars and was killed by Nikos Tyrus, a dark acolyte, near the end of it. But that's just the basic info about his life. There were a lot more juicy deets about Nejaa. Firstly, he demonstrated his special snowflake status early by wielding a silver lightsaber, which was a very unusual color. He earned himself the rather epic nickname of Spicewood given to him by his friend, the Kamasi Jedi Lennick Itkla, who remembered him fondly in his Memnai, a type of strong memory projection the Kamasi experienced. Also, let us reiterate that Nejaa was from Corellia. The Corellian Jedi Enclave was often surrounded by controversy due to their patriotism. Other Jedi often accused them of remaining loyal to Corellia rather than caring about protecting the galaxy as a whole. This reputation wasn't helped by the fact that they usually remained planetside and dealt with Corellian issues primarily. Although they reaffirmed their loyalty to the Order, this controversy definitely played a role in Nejaa's tumultuous relationship with the Order and his people during the war. Also, he was married. Yep, Nejaa took all of that "there is no emotion, there is peace" drivel, put it in a neat little box and married a Corellian woman named Skera Horn. They had a child together whom they named Valin and mostly lived peacefully on Corellia. Nejaa did his best to hide his family from the Order, but he suspected Master Yoda always knew about his transgressions. After Nejaa was killed during the war, in an effort to keep her child hidden from the Empire, Skera made the 1000 IQ play of marrying her late husband's best friend and adopting his surname. Excellent decision making all round, but it doesn't come close to our next contender's messed up love life. We've already talked about Jolee Bindo on this channel. This crazy boomer Jedi lived during the time of the Great Sith War and survived to fight alongside Revan in the Jedi Civil War. But today, we won't go into detail about his crazy escapades during and after his time as a Jedi warrior. Instead, we'll be focusing on his sexcapades. Back when he was still a Padawan, Bindo was the poster child for teen rebellion. When the Yucatec system was in crisis, cut off from receiving food and supplies by their own king, Bindo took it upon himself to help them. So, as any calm and balanced Jedi would, he stole a ship and played Galactic Robin Hood by stealing from the rich, bypassing the blockade, and bringing supplies to the people in need on Yucatec. In a love story better than Twilight, Bindo's ship was eventually shot down by one of the tyrannical king's Yucatec enforcers, Nyama. The enforcer captured and imprisoned Bindo. While he was her captive, she had to foil 3 separate escape attempts. Bindo must have been as persistent at wooing her as he was at escaping, however, because it wasn't long before he'd won her heart. The two unlikely lovers escaped Yucatec together and were married against the Jedi Code. To complicate matters more, Nyama was force sensitive herself, and Bindo took on her training despite being only a Padawan himself, making for some unlikely Padawan on Padawan action. There's honestly a bit too much to unpack there, even for us. Not all was sunshine and rainbows for long though. During the war with Exar Kun, Nejaa was seduced by Kun's teachings and fell to the dark side. To be fair, she tried to convert Bindo as well, but he rejected the empty promises of Exar Kun. Their quarrel culminated in an epic lightsaber duel, which Nejaa lost. Bindo, however, couldn't bring himself to kill her, so he let her go. She would go on to kill many of his Jedi brethren before finally being killed, which weighed heavily on Bindo's conscience for the rest of his life. From enemies to lovers to enemies, these Jedi's love lives were a true tragedy. Revan and Bastila Shan are well known for getting a little too close during their adventures. Their alliance spawned a long line of similarly adventurous Jedi who weren't afraid of getting comfortable with those pesky attachments. Satele Shan was a human female apprenticed to Jedi Master Garni Zoh. Recruited very young into the Order, she quickly proved her strength. She was even sent to the Sith homeworld Korriban to study with the Jedi Battlemaster Khao Sen Darach. During her studies, however, the planet was attacked and taken by the re-emerging Sith Empire. Satele escaped Korriban to warn the Order alongside a Republic trooper named Jace Malcolm, with whom she would soon become very well acquainted. During the Great Galactic War, Satele had risen to the rank of Jedi Knight and led Republic troops to many victories across the galaxy. Despite the Order's policies on relationships, she grew closer and closer to Malcolm, close enough to rush to his and his team's rescue on Alderaan when the Empire invaded the core world. She was instrumental in winning the Battle of Alderaan, as she and Malcolm took down Darth Malgus and turned the tide in the Republic's favor. During their time together on Alderaan, the two began an illicit love affair that lasted 6 months before Satele dumped him, too afraid of Malcolm's darker side. Even though she broke their affair off, she somehow neglected to let her former lover know she was pregnant with his child. Wishing to avoid a huge scandal, Satele's old teacher, Master Zoh, took her right away to a remote location for the duration of her pregnancy so she could give birth in secret. The moment her son, Theron, was born, she left the babe with Zoh and took to the battlefield once more. The child was raised by the Jedi, but when it was determined that he wasn't Force sensitive, he was released to civilians. After the war, Satele was appointed as the Jedi Order's Grand Master. Jace Malcolm eventually became the Supreme Commander of the Republic's army, and Theron Shan became a leading SIS agent. The three had no contact with one another until the events surrounding Revan's return brought them together, and Malcolm learned that he had a son he'd never known about. The three's interactions were uncomfortable, to say the least. An emotionally constipated mother, a gruff father who struggled to show affection, and a son with enough mummy issues to give Freud a run for his money. Does family therapy exist in the Star Wars universe? We certainly hope so. Finally, a video on secret Jedi relationships wouldn't be complete without mentioning two fan-favorite Jedi no one would have ever expected to be romantically involved. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, we talked about Kit Fisto and Aayla Secura's secret friendlationship. The two Jedi were stationed on Kamino 10 months after the start of the Clone Wars. Their goal was to protect the cloning facilities from Separatist attack, and they arrived just in time. A traitor among the Kaminoans cultivated a deadly nanovirus that was killing the clone troopers. It didn't take the Jedi long to weed out the traitor, who made his escape toward the outer landing pads pursued by the Jedi. During the battle that ensued, Secura was yeeted off the edge of the landing platform into the depths of the ocean below to a certain watery death. She would have definitely drowned had Kit Fisto not dived in right after her. Thanks to his Nautolan biology, he could breathe and speak underwater. In what we would consider the ultimate Alpha Chad move, he pulled Secura into a passionate kiss and told her, "Let me breathe for you." What a mad lad. You can't even claim they were platonic friends just doing it because they had to. If you look at the way they're clutching at each other and mashing their faces together, this was definitely more than just the kiss of his life. After they returned to the surface and dispatched the traitor, Secura coyly thanked Fisto for saving her life, to which he responded that it had been his pleasure with a 1,000-word smirk. Look at the way they're smirking at one another. And there you have it. 4 times that Jedi gave into their emotions and let themselves find love amid the eyes of war. Do you know any other scandalous love affairs the Jedi did their best to keep secret? Feel free to share your ships in the comments section below. And as always guys, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.